Good evening again, everyone. Hope that you all are doing good. Today, this will be our probability session 5. And till now, in this probability session, we have discussed the independent events, the PYQs related to that also, and then we discussed about the total probability theorem. Then we discussed the Bayes theorem. Bayes theorem is a really important topic based on which we will be doing some question here also and in this session also. But specifically in today's session, we will be covering total probability theorem, and then next will be the inverse probability theorem, or which is also the part of the Bayes theorem only. All right. So let's start with the first topic, that is binomial probability theorem, which is nothing but the part of the total probability theorem only. Okay. So in this part, we say that for the binomial probability theorem, it says that if an experiment is there in which success and failures are involved, okay, success and failures are involved, and they does not change with the trials. Actually, number of trials, whatever you are doing, suppose that you are tossing a coin, and you know that only two possibilities can come from that coin, either head or either tail. So it doesn't matter whether you are tossing the coin 10 times, 15 times, the possibility you already know, right? The success and failure you already know. Okay. So the binomial probability theorem is used in that cases in which like success and failure does not change with trials. Then the probability of getting the R success, suppose that you want a particular success, or we can say, let's say, suppose you are tossing the coin 15 times and you want to know that how many times the head will come, or we can say find the probability that 15 heads will come. Okay. So total n trials are there, means 15 trials are there total, and then R is a success, means whatever your desired event is there. Okay. In this case, as I said 15's, sorry, just a second. As I said, an example that 15 coins are tossed, or we can say a coin is tossed 15 times actually. Okay. A coin is tossed 15 times. So you will say, and our requirement is R is that uh, we need 15 heads. So this R is 15 head, N is 15 times, that is the number of trials. So then the formula for this, according to the binomial probability theorem, is NCR P to the power R Q to the power N minus R. What is P and Q? P are the probability of success and failure. So suppose in the case of, if I am saying tossing a coin, in the case of tossing a coin, what is the probability of getting a success, or means, or let's say we are saying getting a tail, so it will be 1 by 2. And what is the possibility, or what is the uh, probability of getting a head, so it will be, or we can say not tail simply, so it will be 1 minus 1 by 2, that is 1 by 2 only. So success, failure, you can also reverse them, but accordingly you have to reverse the formula also. So if it is p to the power r, then q will be n to the power q will take the n minus r power. Okay. So p is the probability of success, q is the probability of failure in one particular experiment. Suppose instead of that, yeah, just a second, yes, tell me. Sorry. Huh. Huh, number of trials did not get affected, yes. An example is in which so see, if suppose that if a dice is there, okay, if a dice is there, and let's say the probability of getting on the dice is getting a 2 on the dice is 1 by 6, you know that, right? Probability of getting 2, probability of not getting 2 will be 5 by 6. So this is success, this is failure. But suppose this dice this dice was unbiased die, that means there is nothing has been changed with the dice. Okay. But suppose this is a biased die, means the die is not symmetrical. Okay. So in that case 2 can come 2 times also. Okay, so in that case, failure and success probability will change with the trials. Are you getting the points? Similarly with the coins also. Yeah, biased, simply biased dice is there, right? So it has been modified actually. Yeah, it can happen, right? It can happen. So in this case, this can happen with the coin also. Suppose that center of mass of coin is not at the center. So when you toss that, it may get in the two times, it may get the two heads also. So you can say the total, or we can say equal probabilities will not be there for the head and tail. Okay, in that case, number of tossing a coin, your this means the number of, with the number of trials, this success and failure will depend on them. Okay. Okay, the next thing is condition of binomial probability theorem to be applicable. Basically, if p and q does not depend on the fixed number of trials, it is already given, right? Condition is there for this for this theorem, and then p plus q should be 1. Of course, the sum of those two uh, probabilities should be 1 only. Next part. Okay, simple question is there. All right, so just one thing, the formula for the binomial probability theorem is ncr p to the power r and q to the power n minus r. P is the success, q is the failure. In this question it is saying ki, an ordinary six sided die is rolled 16 times. So whenever this bigger number you will see in the trials, you will just understand that directly we need to apply this binomial probability theorem. Okay, this is the indication. So what is the value of n in this case? You can clearly see 16. Then it is saying probability that on exactly 5 of the rolls means this is the desired number of, in desired number of outcomes we want something. So this is r, actually r success. Okay, so r is equal to 5 is given. Then it is saying either a 3 or a 4 comes up. So we need either 3 or 4. So so a six sided die can give you a 3, the probability of getting a 3. So success is, here you can write success is 3 or a 4 outcomes. So what is the probability of getting any of the number, either 3 or 4? 1 by 3. And this is a success, actually getting the probability. And what will the failure? 1 minus 1 by 3, that is 2 by 3. Okay, so therefore the required probability will be nothing but 16. So ncr formula we know, ncr into p to the power r into q to the power n minus r. Just put the values and get your answers. So 16c5 into 1 by 3 to the power r, that is 5 only, into q is 2 by 3 whole to the power 16 minus 5, that is 11. So here you can say 16c5 into 1 by 3 whole to the power 5 into 2 by 3 whole to the power 11. If you want to solve it, you can do it, but you can leave it here also. Okay, so this is the answer for this question. Any doubt up to here? Okay, so next question then. A pair of dice is thrown 5 times. Similar question. Okay, everything is given. 5 times has been thrown, this dice has been thrown, and then the probability of getting a doublet twice. Doublet we have to want, which is also 2 times. Can you tell me what is the value of n in this case and what is the value of r in this case? So n to already given 5 times, means they are clearly saying that n is equal to 5. And the doublet twice, doublet is a event in which you will get the same number on the two dice, right? Pair of dice is given, na? Doublet is a number, and twice we want. So actually they are asking you in rs2. Okay, so you know the probability, the event doublet, the doublet you will be getting are, what are those? Either 1 1, either 2 2, either 3 3, either 4 4, or either 5 5, or either 6 6. So total 6 possibilities are there. So if we find out the probability of success, it means getting a doublet. Getting a doublet means 1 by 36, sorry 6 by 36, because sample space, number of sample space will be 30, will have 36 events, because a pair of dice has been thrown, so two dice has been thrown, right? So 6 by 36 will be nothing but 1 by 6. And what about the failure? Means not getting a doublet. Not getting a doublet, 1 minus 1 by 6, that is 5 by 6. Okay, now required probability. Required probability will be again according to the formula NCR into P to the power R Q to the power N minus R. Okay, put the values. N is 5 because 5 trials has been done 5 times. Then 5C2, 2 is the required means required events or required number of uh, throwing of the dice, in which we want that doublet 2 times, and then 1 by 6 whole to the power 2 into 5 by 6 whole to the power 5 minus 2, or we can say 3. Okay, so this is the final answer, right? Next question. Next question. I think this question we have already done, right? One second. This is the next one. A pair of dice is thrown 5 times. Hmm. Okay, so now, okay, this is also done. This is the next question. A coin is tossed 10 times. What is the probability of getting exactly 6 heads? Okay, so again, n is 10 here. N is 10 here. What is the probability of getting exactly 6 heads? So it means R is 6. And what is the probability of success and failure in this case? Which are equally likely in this case, right? But basically 1 by 2 is getting the probability of head, and then 1 minus 1 by 2, if you do that, the failure will be 1 by 2 only. So simply the formula, just put the value in the formula NC R into P to the power R into Q to the power N minus R. This is the required probability. Okay, so I'm leaving it to you, you can do that easily. Now next is an important question and also a good one. Okay, so next we will do. So the next question is, yes, this has been asked in the AIEEE also in 2009. Okay, so it is saying in a binomial distribution. Okay, so here so you don't have to identify that whether binomial distribution is applied or binomial formula will be applied or no. It is already given. So n comma p is equal to 1 by 4. N comma p is equal to 1 by 4. What is the meaning of this actually? Okay, so you have to understand here that if they are giving you n comma p, basically this is comma here, right? Don't understand that key n comma p is equal to, this is like coordinate a comma b. Okay, so this b value has been given only. So n is the number of trials, p is the probability of success that is given. So definitely the probability of failure will be 1 minus 1 by 4, that is 3 by 4, right? Now the question is asking that if the probability of at least one success is greater than or equal to 9 by 10, then n is greater than. Okay, this is the question. So we need at least one success. Remember, we have earlier also we have discussed that at least one means either it can have 0, okay, or either it can have 1. So at least means minimum 1, less than that 0 is also possible. So can I say that if I want probability of at least one success, then we have to do that like this: 1 minus probability of no success. Okay, because uh, apart from no success, we need like 1 minus p of no success. If we do, we will get everything. I think I said the reverse. Actually, at least one success means minimum is one success, okay, and maximum it can be anything. All right. So minimum is one success, maximum it can be anything. So that means no success. If you subtract from total, that will be your answer. So 1 minus p of no success. So what is the no success means? No success means it says that, just a second. It says that no success means that n to, sorry, huh, and no success means n is not given to you, right? We already know. So this is remains as it is. But can you tell me what is the value of r? No success means we don't need the value of r. Actually 0. Okay. In 0 trial. So this is the value of r, and then simply apply the formula. So probability of no success. This is the binomial trial. Okay. So we will write like this: NCR, NC0 actually, into p to the power p to the power 0 into q to the power n minus 0. So simply it will become NC0 is 1 into uh, NC0 is 1, and then P0 is 1 again, and q to the power n, that is nothing but 3 by 4 to the power n. So we will say this will be nothing but 3 by 4 to the power n. So this is no success. So therefore at least one success will be, probability of at least one success will be 1 minus 3 by 4 whole to the power n. Okay. And in the question they have given at least one success is greater than or equal to 9 by 10. So it means this value is greater than or equal to 9 by 10. Okay, so if we go on the next page, I am going on the next page. The probability of at least one success is greater than or equal to 9 by 10. So this value we have already calculated, which was nothing but 1 minus 3 by 4 to the power n greater than or equal to 9 by 10. Alright. So take this on the right side and take that on the left side. So 1 minus 9 by 10 will give you what? 1 by 10 only. And this will be greater than or equal to 3 by 4 whole to the power n. Okay. 3 by 4 whole to the power n means less than or equal to 1 by 10. And now you can see the options. They are all using base 10 log, right? Log base 10. So that means you must have to take the log on the both side, that is also with base 10. So take, here you will write take log base 10 both side. Okay, so that will become log base 10 3 by 4 whole to the power n less than or equal to log 1 by 10. 1 by 10 I can write like this, 10 to the power minus 1, right? So this will become log base 10 3 to the power n. N can be taken as outside, and this will become log of 3 by 4 to the base 10 less than or equal to, this will become by the properties of log, right? Log m to the power n is nothing but n log m. So minus 1 into log 10. Achha, this is also base, right? Base 10 is also there. So this will become nothing but log of 3 base 10 minus log of 4 base 10 is less than or equal to minus 1. Okay. So that means n value will be less than or equal to minus 1 upon log of 3 base 10 minus log of 4 base 10. Okay, but in the question, in the option they are giving 4 minus 3. So that definitely you have to take the negative sign common, and you know that if you take negative sign common, this inequality will get reversed. Actually we have to take the negative sign in the left side only. Okay, but we missed that part. Let's take this on the left side only, so that you can understand the inequalities also. So if we take the negative sign common in the left side, so negative of n will become log of 4 to the base 10 minus log of 3 to the base 10 is less than or equal to minus 1. When we multiply minus 1 on the both side, inequality will get reversed, and this will be n is greater than or equal to 1 by log of 4 to the base 10 minus log of 3 to the base 10. Is that clear? And this is the answer, which is which option? 1 upon D option. Yes, tell me. So this question was really good. Yeah, clear? Huh. In inequality part, what I did, we have taken the negative sign common in the left side. Right side, so it was already minus 1. Okay, left side we have taken negative sign common. So instead of this log 3 base 10, it will become here log base 4, log of 4 to the base 10. And then negative. Huh. Hmm. Of course, we can take, but then you have to remember that if you are taking the negative sign common from the denominator as well as from the denominator, numerator as well as from the denominator, then this inequality will get reversed like this. Okay, but in order to understand that, that's why I did in the left side, so that you can understand that. Okay. Hmm. You can say that. Of course. Okay. Okay, so this D is the correct answer for this. Next question. Next question is again in the JEE Mains 2019. The question is saying that for an initial screening of admission test, a candidate is given 50 problems. 50 problems is clearly giving you. See, if you don't understand that, suppose that the question is with options, okay, and you don't understand that what is the method we should follow. So just go with the first options. Whether, of course, in the previous question you cannot guess whether we should use that or no. But in this question you can see these much of numbers with the fractions can only come in which part of the probability, that is binomial only. Okay, so this is also a way to identify whether binomial distribution or binomial probability theorem will be used or no. So it is saying a candidate is given with the 50 problems to solve, so means definitely n will be 50. If the probability that the candidate solve any problem is 4 by 5. Okay, just wait. Probability of candidate to solve any problem is 4 by 5. Then the probability that he is unable to solve less than 2 problems. What is our requirement? Our requirement is probability of unable to solve, sorry, probability of unable to solve less than 2 problems. If he is unable to solve less than 2 problems, it means, can we say that it will be equal to nothing but either he can solve no problem, okay, means either he is not solving 0 problem, or either he is not solving 1 problem. So we'll say that probability of not solving or unable to solve, okay, not solving 1 problem plus probability of not solving 0 problem. This is the possibility, right? So if this is the possibility, then let's find out this value. Okay, so now just tell me the probability of candidate solving any problem is given. It means what is given here? Yes, Aruna, tell me. Not solving less than 2. Huh. Hmm. Eh, that same thing, right? That is the same thing also, of course. Okay. Of course we can do that. Okay. So in this part, let's proceed with this method, and then I will try to solve with that method also. So unable to solve less than 2 problems. First of all, tell me that candidate solve any problem. So if the candidate that solve any problem, what is it given? Success or failure? Huh? Sorry. Exactly. This is 4 by 5. Q is given. So that means P will be 1 by 5, 1 minus 4 by 5. So this is the thing to understand, because our requirement is not able to solve, right? And he is giving able to solve. So definitely this is Q. Okay, that is the identification we have to do here. So in that case, probability of not solving one problem means, in this case, R is 1, and in this case R is 0. So therefore the formula we already know, NCR into P to the power R into Q to the power n minus R. So for the first one, this one, it will be NC1, or we can say 50C1. In this case n is 50. 50C1 into P is 1 by 5 whole to the power 1 into 4 by 5 whole to the power 4, 50 minus 1, that is 49, plus probability of not solving 0 problem, it means 50C0 into 1 by 5 whole to the power 0 into, sorry, this is 50, right? 50C0, then 4 by 5 whole to the power 50 only. Okay, now from here you can take the common 4 by 5 whole to the power 49 common, and 50C1 is already 50 only, right? So this will become 50, 50 by 5, this is 1 by 5 is also there, right? Plus 5C0, that is 50C0, that is 1 only, and 4 by 5, so that is 4 by 5 only you will be getting. All right, so the final answer is 54 by 5 into 4 by 5 whole to the power 49. That is the answer for this question. Okay, however, if we go with the second method, that if a candidate is not able to solve two problem, it means definitely he will be able to solve 48 problems. Okay, so let's try with that whether it will work or no. Okay, next page. Sorry. Of course, but you have to, yes, of course you have to write then, all the things, all these terms. But rather, if you try with this, like 50C48, suppose, into 1 by 5 whole to the power 48 into 5 by 6 whole to the power 2, will it work? 1 by 6, this will also be 50 into 49 divided by 48, and 1 by 5 in whole to the power 48 into 1 by 5, no, 4 by 5, sorry, not 5 by 6, 4 by 5. 4. Yeah, so 4 by 5 whole to the power square, I think it will work, right? The same answer you will be getting. Okay. Hmm. So fourth answer is correct. The next question is this one. Next is saying that, uh, in a bombing attack, there's a bomb attack, there's a 50% chance that a bomb will hit the target. So what is it? Clearly visible. 50% chance of that bomb will hit the target. Hit the target is a success. Okay, hitting the target is a success. So just a second. Yeah. So we can say P, or success, is nothing but hitting the target, and that is given as nothing but 50%. 50% is nothing but 1 by 2. Similarly, K will be the failure, that is not hitting the target. Not hitting the target. Again 51 by 2, right? Then it is saying at least two independent hits are required to destroy the targets completely. Means at least two. Minimum two is required. Maximum it can be any number of any number of hits can be employed, right? To hit the target, or to destroy the target completely. Then the minimum number of bombs. Okay, minimum number of bombs that must be dropped to ensure that there is at least 99% of chance of completely destroying the target is. Yes. How should we proceed? Anyone can give me the idea in this part. Rather, Are you able to see the n value? Uh, yes, tell me. There is a noise coming from your end. One second, one second. There is a noise coming from your end. Please, is that? Yeah. Now it's okay. Yes, correct. Hmm. Then, no, what? Huh, huh. Then, how n is 100? What is he asking? Minimum number of bombs. That is the n value actually, because you are doing the bombing attack, na? So how many bombs you are attacking? That is actually the n, the number of trials. Getting the point? Huh. N is no. N is 2. No. No, R you are correctly saying. R can be 0 or and R can be 1. Two events will be added actually, like what we did in the last part, because at least is given, na? Exactly. Hmm. Exactly. Same thing you have to do. So probability of success is we have already found out. Failure we have already found out. Hitting the target, not hitting the target. Let n are the number of bombs. Okay, what is the given in the question? What is given? Saying at least two. At least two. How will we write? At least two independent hits are required. So means probability of at least two hits. Can I write this as 1 minus probability of 0 hits, probability of 1 hit? Is it correct or no? Okay, and what about the n? N we don't know, right? N we have to find out. So 1 minus, in this case r will be 0, in this case r will be 1. So nc0 into nc0 into p to the power 0, 1 to the power 0 into 1 to 1 by, sorry, 1 by 2 to the power 0 and 1 by 2 to the power n, plus in this case it will be nc1 into 1 by 2 to the power 1 and 1 by 2 to the power n minus 1. So when we find this value, it will become 1 minus nc0 is I think 1 only, right? So this is 1. So 1 by 2 whole to the power 0 is also 1. So 1 by 2 to the power n only. Then plus nc1 is n only into 1 by 2 to the power n minus 1. See, here is the power 1, here is the power n minus 1. If we add the powers, so it will become n only. So that means 1 by 2 to the power n only. Now you can do one thing, take the 1 by 2 whole to the power common, and when you do that this will become 1 plus n. So we will have a relation like this, 1 minus n plus 1 into 1 by 2 whole to the power n. Any doubt up to here? Anyone? Okay, so this is what we have got, at least hits, at least two hits, at least two hits. Now it is also given that then the minimum number of bombs that must be dropped to ensure that at least 99% chances, means this value is given to you. 99% chances means 99% probability, and this probability is 99 by 100. This value is already given to you. So we will say just a second. hmm. We will say ki probability of probability of hitting or destroying the target, sorry, rather we should write probability of at least two head, no, at least two hit, at least two hits will be greater than equal to. will be greater than equal to 99 by 100 probability. Okay, and this value is already 1 minus n plus 1 into uh, what was the value, 1 by 2 whole to the power n, right? 1 by 2 whole to the power n. Now maximum student reached up to here. After this there's a problem. Okay, so suppose if I'm saying ki take the 99 by 100 on the left side and take this n part on the right side, so 1 minus 99 by 100 greater than equal to n plus 1 into 1 by 2 whole to the power n. This will become 1 by 100 only, greater than equal to n plus 1, and this 1 by 2 to whole to the power n we can write like this, 2 to the power n only. Then we can say कि 2 to the power cross multiply 2 to the power n greater than equal to 100 into n plus 1. Now in the question they are not giving the options. Okay, so how will you check? You have to check with the trials by putting the value of n. कि when it will be possible that this, what is the minimum value of n for which this inequality will satisfy. Okay, what is the minimum value of n for which this inequality will satisfy? So suppose if you are taking n is equal to 5, 32, right? 2 to the power 5, so you already know 32. 6 is 64. 7 is 128, right? 2 to the power 10 we can check, right? If 2 to the power 10 is there, it will be 1024, right? But what about the right one? 100 into 10 plus 1, that is 1100. Still it is not true. Exactly. So yes, n will be 11 because only the minimum value will be n is equal to 11. So that is the answer for this question. This is 100 into 11 plus 1, so this will be 12048 greater than equal to 12, that is 200, 1200. So this is true. Okay, is that clear? See, it's not very difficult, right? That's why we can do that. But of course they will not ask you very difficult hit and trial things, right? But yes, in this case hit and trial will only work, will be the best. Otherwise then you have to go with the log, and that's a long task.
Yes, sir. Log, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, that is a longer task then. Okay, let's go for the next then. Next part is random variable. So what is the random variable? Basically we say that for a random experiment whatever the outcomes is coming, that depends on a, let's say, one variable, and that variable will be called as random variable. Suppose that if a coin has been tossed, okay, or let's say this tossing of a coin two times in succession means two times the coin has been tossed, and sample space you know that already, this will be four events, four number of elements will be there. So now x you can assign any values like number of getting two heads, like you can assign the x value as number of getting one head, or getting one head and tail, one tail and head. Okay, so these are basically the values of the random variable. Okay, so you know that two head can come, just a second. Okay, so you know that two head, probability of getting two heads, we are writing this as 2 only. I think there is a mistake in this part, 2 tail. I think this should be 1. 2. Sorry. Okay, okay. Ha. Number of heads are 2. Yeah, yes, yes. So number of heads and tails is here only 1 and 1. So that means this we will assign the value to random variable as 1 only. Similarly, because our random variable defined it as what? X denotes the number of heads obtained, right? I missed that part. So number of heads obtained we have to see. So how many heads are there? 2. So that means 2 is there. The random variable value will be 2. Similarly in this case 1. In this case 1. In this case it is 0. So it is just like suppose that a few number of events are occurring, or and you need to arrange, or you need to assign a random variable to the number of events. So you can do like this. Okay, For example, for example, acha, okay, we have done that, right? Now the probability distribution. So that variable is done. Basically, that a random variable is used to write the probability distribution. What is the probability distribution actually? Okay, the probability distribution is nothing but according to the random variable. Suppose in this previous part only, if I ask you what is the probability of getting uh, two heads, so that means two heads. Sorry, this is here we are having the number of heads obtained, right? Only number of heads obtained is our random variable. So means what is the probability in which we will get only one head? So it will be like this one also, it will be like this one also, and it will be like this one also. The total number 2 plus 1, 2 and 1 and 3 means these will be calculated, these will be calculated separately, these will be calculated separately. Like in this, suppose that if I'm giving you the example like this, tossing a coin two times in succession, you will say probability of two heads. What it will be? Of course, 1 is the possibility out of 4, so 1 by 4, so 0.25. Similarly, one head, the probability is 1 or 2, that means two events are there, so 2 by 4, that is 0.5. Similarly, no head means both the coins are tail, both the faces are tail, it means 0.25, that is again 1 by 4. Now, these probabilities which are associated with these random variables, okay, when we write like this in this format, this is called as probability distribution. Okay, so actually for each of the random variable we get the different probabilities. So it is written here. It is a mathematical function that gives the probability of occurrence of different possible outcomes for an experiment. And yes, of course, it can be associated with the random variable. Okay, let's go to the next part. So here the number of events can be like it can be increased also. So when they are going to increased, we can say that, let's say capital X is our defining the random variable, and x1, x2, x3 are the values, actually possible values of random variable. Okay, and p1, p2, p3 up to pn, they will be the probabilities that are associated with these random variable values. Okay, in the compact form you can write like this: probability of at x is equal to xi, means index form we are writing. So pi will be the probability, and this can vary from 0 to 1, right? This can vary from 0 to 1 because total probability of any event cannot be lesser than 0. Okay, so it will be greater than 0 in this case, and sum will be equal to 1, right? Let's understand a question on this, how to write that. So the question is saying a pair of dice is thrown three times. Three times. See, we will be using the again the same thing, that is the binomial probability theorem, but we will also use the random variable concept here. So probability, a pair of dice is thrown three times. It means n is equal to 3 in this case directly. Then if getting a sum of 9 on them is considered as success, getting a sum of 9, so we can write P as success as getting sum as 9, getting sum 9. Write the probability distribution of the number of success. We just have to write the probabilities of the probability distribution, means according to the random variable and associated probabilities. So if the success is getting as sum as 9, okay, so what is the value of p? Then what will be the value of p? Yes, what will be the value of p? 3, 6, 1 by 9 is the other. Yes, you will get 1 by 9 when you calculate them all. Okay, you will get 1 by 9. In this part you have to do little bit struggle, otherwise everything is fine, right? Because 6 3 is there, 3 6 is there, 4 5 is there, 5 4 is there, Okay, and apart from that, uh, that's it. Okay, that's it. These are the events. 4, so 4 by 36, 1 by 9, simple. Okay, so what is the failure then? This is success. Failure will be 8 by 9. Now see carefully. They are asking you what is the probability distribution of the number of success. Number of success is our getting some 9 on them in 3 dice. So we will say the probability when x is equal to 0. It means you are getting no sum as 9. So 3C0 means in 0 trial actually, right? After 3 trial you are getting 0 trial. So in which you will be writing 1 by 9 to the power 0, that is again the formula is NCR into P to the power R into Q to the power N minus R, then 8 by 9 to the power 3. Okay, similarly the random variable will be 1. That means either we can get in uh, when x is equal to 1 we can get this value as 3c1, 1 by 9 whole to the power 1 into 8 by 9 whole to the power 2. Okay, because 3 times we are doing 3 times we are this the dice are thrown 3 times, right? So in the, let's say if x is equal to 0, that means uh, the random variable value is 0, that is basically the success has been considered, right? So here I should write one thing, let x let x be the number of, sorry, one second, let the number of success, here just is it, let the number of success is the random variable, x, and these values can be either 0, 1, 2 or 3 because maximum 3 trials are there, 3 times is there. Okay, so similarly probability of getting x is equal at x is equal to 2 will be nothing but 3c2, 1 by 9 whole to the power 2 into 8 by 9 to the power 1. And the last one is probability at x is equal to 3, that 3c3 into 1 by 9 whole to the power 3 into 8 by 9 to the power 0. This is what we call the probability distribution. Okay, that's it. So these are the small x1 values. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, which we were discussing just in the previous page. These 0, this 1, this 2 and this 3, these are the small x1, x2, x3 values, that is the values of the random variables, and these are the associated probabilities. So when you write along with this you will be getting the probability distribution. Okay, after this you can just draw a table. You can just draw a table. If the question comes in the board exam, just you have to write like this. After finding out the probabilities, here you will write x and here you will write the probability of at x. Okay, the at x is equal to 0, 1, 2 and 3. Here you write the probabilities. Okay, here you write the probabilities, all the probabilities. So this is what we call distribution table. In the board exam, if you don't write this table and just find out the probabilities, you will 1 marks will be deducted, or 1.5, whatever they, according to the faculty. Next question. Yes. This box. Okay, the previous one. This one. Note point. Okay. In the note point, we are saying that the probability should be greater than 0. Means for any event, or any random event or random variable, this probability should be greater than 0. Okay, because if an event is happening, if a random variable has been assigned a value, then definitely the probability will not be 0. That's why we are starting with the greater than 0 possibility. Sorry, that's what I'm saying, that if you are using even the x value as 0, the probability will be there for that event. Okay, because in this case 0 is not showing you the probability 0. In this case 0 is showing you that in the dice some particular event is not coming, not, but if that is not coming, the rest of are coming, na? So for the rest of that probability will be written here. Are you getting this point? Got this point? Yeah. Next question. Okay, this question is already done, eh? Ah. Next question. So this question is saying two cards are drawn. Two cards are drawn successively with replacement from a well shuffled deck of 52 cards. Find the probability distribution of number of aces. Now just tell me, uh, if you are drawing two cards, what are the values of random variable possible? Okay, this is an important task. Ki how should we understand what is to be taken as a random variable? So in this case, two cards has been drawn, right? So if you drawing the two, yes, tell me. Hmm, of course, tell me. How many? Maximum only two cards can be drawn. Uh, Correct. Correct. Hmm. Because only two cards has been drawn, na? So in either way we cannot get. Huh. Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Hmm. We don't have to reduce, of course. So in this case, two cards has been drawn. Okay, successively. It means, and the success. What is the success? Okay, in this case, you must write this success as, let's say, success is getting an ace. Getting an ace. In this case, success is getting an ace. Now just tell me, uh, in two cards, how many maximum ace you can get? In two cards, of course, two maximum ace you can get. How many minimum ace you can get? Zero. And one is also possibility, one ace card and one is other card. So therefore, these are the values of random variable. So x will be taken as, let the number of aces in the random variable is the, sorry, number of aces is the random variable x. So that value of x will be nothing but 0, 1 and 2. Okay. Now probability of getting 0 ace. 0 ace. It means 48 by 52 in the first, because two cards has been drawn successfully. So one on the first card, if you are not getting any, so it means 48 by 52, and either on the second also you are not getting the ace. So 48 by 52 into 48 by 52, and there is a replacement given, so means the all the cards remains intact. Okay. Similarly, when you write this probability at x is equal to 1, it means either it can be a case that you can get the ace in the first draw or in the second draw. Okay, just listen carefully. Or is there, sense of or is there, that either you can get the ace in the first event, or we can say first, yeah, first event, so 4 by 52, and the rest will remains as it is, plus either you can get in the second draw, that is 4 by 52. So ultimately we can say like this, 2 into 4 by 52 into 48 by 52, right? When you calculate this, it will be 2 4 by 169, and this value will be 18 for 24. Okay, 144 divided by 169, and then the next is probability at x is equal to 2, means getting both the a's. So in the first drawn card you will get ace, in the second drawn card also you will get ace. So it will be 1 by 13, 1 by 13, that is 1 by 6, 169. Right, now just probability distribution table you can write. The probability distribution will be, actually this is the half JEE main question, okay, I can say. Why? Because they will not give you the option as a table, right? However, they can ask you one more extra part here that I will be telling you one second. So this is table, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and here you can write the probabilities. 144 by 169, 24 by 169, and then 1 by 169. Actually there is a term comes, okay, what is that term? That we call it as a mean or expectation value, okay, we call this as a mean. In this case we are talking about the grouped data, okay. Grouped data means the data is well defined, it is not a random data. So in the case of group data we will find the mean like this: multiply the random variable by this by its corresponding probability, multiply the random variable by its corresponding probability, and then add them all, you will get the mean, or it is also called it expected value or expectations. We are moving toward that also, of course. Okay, next. But we'll not get very probabilities. In probabilities there can be a error, but of course, so if they are asking you up to this part, they can go one more step ahead, that is variance also, mean and variance. That is our next topic in this class. Okay. Me in this case, no, in this case it's a group data, we don't have to divide this by 3. No, we don't have to divide by 3, don't, that's what I'm saying. uh, okay, this is a group data. In this we generally write like this: when you are having the random data, in that case you have to divide by the number of observations. Okay. The next question: a random variable x has the following probability distribution. X is given as 1 2 3 4 5, and probability of x is given as k square, 2k, k, 2k, and 5k square. The question is asking what is the probability of x getting greater than 2. So can you see, if they are asking you probability of x greater than 2, you can write this in two ways. What are the two ways? Either you can say ki greater than 2 means we will get probability at x is equal to 3, probability at x is equal to 4, plus probability at x is equal to 5. Or you can simply say if you subtract probability of at x is equal to 0 from 1 plus probability also 1 also, then you will be getting the all the probabilities. Okay, thus there is a possibility like this you can do. Is that clear? So now can you tell me, can you quickly solve it and tell me what is the value of k you are getting? So you need at least one equation na? And that equation you can get from the total probabilities, because total probability is always 1. So total probability is always 1, I told you just now. Sigma of pi is 1. When you put the I is equal to 1, that means k square, then 2k, corresponding probabilities I am writing, then plus 2k, then plus 5k square is equal to 1. Okay, so from here you will be getting 6k square plus 5k minus 1 equal to 0. And from here you will be getting two values of k. One is 1 by 6 and another is minus 1. Which will be rejected? Of course, negative probability is not possible. So means k value will be giving you negative answers only for the probabilities, which is not possible. So this is not possible. So therefore k is equal to 1 by 6, and hence we got the k value. So just simply the question is asking either you find this one or this one. So let's find out this value. I'm finding out this value. So 1 minus probability at x is equal to 0. What is the probability? K is okay, so 0 is not given in here. Okay, that is the problem here. So if 0 is not given, then we cannot use this one. Okay, so we have to go with this method only. Clear? Of course, this one we cannot use. I was just saying in the random part that this can also be used somewhere when the for the random variable x is equal to just, and let me say one thing. I'm saying ki when x is equal to, for x is equal to 0, when the possibility, when the probability is associated, then we can use this method. Okay, but in this case it is not possible, so we will not use that. Okay. Yes. So we have to subtract 2 also, but how will you get the x is equal to 0? X should be 2. But then it is also saying greater than 2. What about that? It is not saying greater than or equal to. So that means we cannot use this second one. Okay. Okay. Of course. If they will give 0, then we can use this one. Otherwise, it's not possible. X, no. Random variable is there. Can you draw two cards from a pack of two cards in the negative? Got the idea? Okay. So this is not possible. Second one you can remove from here. However, in the earlier question, I think one you were asking Aruna also, that in that it can work, and I solved this also, I guess. Okay, so in this case, x is equal to 3, the possibility is k, for probability is k, है ना? For k this is 2k, for 5 this is 5k square. So it means our required answer is 5k square plus 3k. Put the value of k as 6, you will get the answer. Sorry, 1 by 6, you will get the answer. Okay, so this is nothing but 5 by 36 plus 3 by 6. So we need 36, so it will be 18 by 36. That is 23 by 36. Right, C option is the correct answer. Let's go quickly to the next part. Okay, this is the last part only. C is the correct answer. Mean and variance. Okay, because we have gone up to the distribution table, probability distribution. So just a simple task for the random variable. That, okay, again I'm saying, for the random part or random data. Okay, ungrouped data, that we call it as ungrouped data. Ungrouped data in which you have not been given any frequency associated with any number of trials. So let's say 0, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. These numbers are given and they are asking you the mean. Then you will simply do one thing you already know, sum upon number of observation. Okay. But if the grouped data is there, so grouped data means if a 0 is occurring, there is some frequency associated to that, means how many times it is occurring, or okay, there will be frequency associated to that. Suppose that a data is given like students are there in the class, okay, and they are getting some marks, let's say 40 marks, 50 marks, 60 marks, 70 marks. Okay, so now the frequency is associated with that in this way, like there are 5 students are there who are getting 40 marks, there are 4 students are there who are getting 50 marks. So in this case frequencies are associated, right? So these are called f1, f2, f3, like that, and these are our x1, x2, x3. Okay, so in the group data, this is called grouped data. So when the group data is given, you will find out the mean in this way, f1 x1, f2 x2, and so on up to, you will add up to nx, means whatever the number of events are there, you'll just add them and divide by the total number of frequencies, total sum of frequencies. Okay, similarly we can do with the probabilities also. Suppose that instead of fi, if I write here sigma of pi xi upon sigma of pi. So sigma of pi, so you already know that is the maximum value is 1. So that means this value will be simply sigma pi xi. So this can also give you the what expectation or mean. This is also known as expectation. This is the same as mean. But remember, this is only possible in case of grouped data. Okay, what is the mistake? Tell me. So that's what I said. Pi is the probability here. I said it already. This is a probability. It is modified. Okay, so it is modified actually. This is a probability, and pi is the of course probability, and x is basically your random variable. You can say random variable values. Hmm. Hmm. Equating means this one, second one. Hmm. Hmm. So we are writing in this format actually, right? We are writing in this format. Okay, of course you don't have to write this denominator part anytime. You have to just write this because that will be all, denominator part will always be 1, right? So simply if you do the product of the probabilities and its associated random variable values, that will give you the simply what? And when you take the sum, that will give you the mean only. But in this case it was a frequency. Okay, so in this case it was a frequency, so that's why we had to write a number which is coming as a sum of those frequencies. But in this case it's a probability, so it will be 1 only always. Hmm. Tell me. Hmm. In the denominator part you will be getting 1. 1 can be written as in this way also you can define. So fi, हाँ, pi, then you can hmm, exactly. But in this way you tell me. Of yes, this part we can do that also. In this way it will work. Hmm. That is basically you can understand like this. We have studied the classical definition of probability, in which we said that favorable outcomes upon total outcomes. Okay, here also the same thing is happening. This is what our favorable outcomes, and then we divide this by total outcomes on the denominator and left numerator. You will be getting this as a pixi. Okay, in that way also you can understand, or if you are dividing by sigma of fi, that is also the same part. Okay, that same what? Which one? Hmm. Okay, we discussed that this is in the same format, that favorable outcome upon total outcomes. So this is favorable outcome, this is total outcome according to the classical definition. Okay, so in this part, actually, 1 second, let me rub this. Hmm. So if we do here sigma fi xi upon sigma fi upon sigma fi upon sigma fi, this value will be 1, and this value will give you the nothing but sigma pi into xi. Okay, and that's what I'm saying ki you can simply compare like this is the favorable outcomes, and this is the, or we can say total favorable outcomes upon total sample space. Okay. Correct. Okay. Okay, next is measure of dispersion. Means dispersion, measure of dispersion means that how the data has been spreaded out according to their mean value. Okay, suppose that if some data is there, and this is our mean value of the data, or we can say mean only. So how this data has been spreaded surrounding this mean is basically the measure of dispersion. Okay, so in the case of variance, this is the one of the measure of dispersion, that is variance of a random variable. So again you can say consider the data x1 x2 x3. In this case we are having ungrouped data. Okay, that means frequency is not involved. So in this case, if the frequency is not involved, we will directly write like this: xi, or we can say x1 minus x bar whole square plus x2 minus x bar whole square plus so on up to xn minus x bar whole square. Okay, and upon total n. Right, so this will be giving us the variance, where x bar is a mean, x bar is a mean, right? And what is this x1 x2? So if you can understand from this graph, let me tell you, we are actually measuring the dispersion, or we can, sorry, the spreading data here. Okay, so this x1 x2 values are like this value is your x bar. Here you will be getting somewhere x1, here you will be getting the x2 and then x3. Similarly here also you will be getting x1 x2 x3. So some part will be on the negative side, some part can be on the positive side, but ultimately you have to add all of them, the absolute value, or we can say square value, and then divide by the total number of observation. That will give you the variance sigma square value. Okay, similarly you can separate this like this. Okay, the next form of this formula is sigma xi square upon n minus sigma xi by n ka whole square. Okay, this is also the variance formula. How does it came? First of all, I'll just telling you to remember this formula. This is the squares of mean. Squares of mean means whenever it is written squares of mean, you just read it from the reverse. First do the mean, then take the square. First do the mean, take the square. It means sigma xi upon n, and then take the square. This is the mean, square of mean. Okay, similarly mean of squares means first do the squares of observations and then take the square mean. First do the squares, then take the mean, means x1 square plus x2 square, these are the observations, plus x3 square and so on, up divided by n. This is what mean of squares. Divided by n means mean. Getting the idea? So you can just write, just remember like this: mean of squares, mos minus som. Okay, this is the way to remember. However, you might have your own way, right? I'm just telling you that students generally struggle in the variance formula only because up to mean they already know what to do, but in the variance there is a problem. Okay, so you can remember like this. Next, there is a proof of this part. Okay, let's quickly do that because we are already have taken too much time. So you can see sigma square formula is sigma xi minus mu whole square into pi, or sigma square is equal to pi xi square minus mu square. How does it came? Actually, you can see this is the sigma xi square by n, and this is mean, right? But mean we can also write, by the probabilities. So that's what we are doing. We are multiplying the probabilities here. Okay, if you multiply the probabilities, this will remain same here, and here this will in this format now, means we are multiplying the probabilities here actually. Okay, so let's quickly see this how it is solved. Simply the modified version that I told you in the previous page, how does it come, how does it come in this one, sorry. So you can see this is the a minus b whole square format. Expand that, a square. Okay, I'm just writing a minus b whole square format. Okay, this is a square, this is b square, and this is minus 2ab, right? Okay, then this mu is a constant, so that can be taken as outside from the sigma. Xi pi, sigma xi pi, we already studied that. Mu here is mean. Okay, just understand that mu is mean here. So this again will become mu only, right? So this will become mu into mu, that is 2 mu square. Then it is already mu square, because sigma of pi is 1. Sigma of pi is 1. Okay, mu square is a constant, sigma of pi is 1, and sigma of xi square pi will remain as it is. So this mu minus 2 mu square will become minus mu square, and that is what, that is how we got this value. This can be also written as like this: sigma square is equal to, okay, this sigma is different, this sigma is different, right? Summation. So that means pi into xi whole square, or this xi whole square can also be written as x1 minus x bar whole square, like that, what we discussed, right? And then minus mu square. If you are writing that x1 minus x2, then you don't need to write like this mu minus mu square. Okay, otherwise if you are writing this, then you have to take like this: pi into xi whole square. Okay, so this is what variance, sigma square value. And what is the standard deviation? Standard deviation is nothing but the square root of, positive square root of the, remember, positive square root value of the standard deviation, sorry, variance. This is what we call standard deviation. Okay, is it clear? This was a little bit longer session because Bayes theorem was also involved, random variable was also involved, and binomial probability theorem was also involved, and the statistics parts were also there. So the last question based on this, okay, just as so finally we got these formulas, right? Finally we got these formulas, that is sigma pi into xi as expectation or mean, and sigma basically variance is basically xi minus mu whole square into pi. That's what I said, ki either you can write in this way or either this way, both are correct. Okay, so it's a simple question given. It is saying random variable x is specified by the following distribution law, then variance of this distribution is. I'm just giving you an example, the solution for this. So mu will, you will be writing like this: multiply the random variable associated with this probabilities. That means 2 into 0.3 plus 3 into 0.4 plus 4 into 0.3. When you calculate this, this will be 0.6, 1.2 and 1.2. That means 3. Okay. Similarly, sigma square you will write. So mu you already got, sigma square value we already know the formula: sigma of xi minus mu whole square into pi. Xi minus mu means 2 minus mu, exactly. Okay, into probability, that is 0.3 plus then 3 minus 3, this is 0 already, right? Plus 4 minus 3 whole square into 0.3, and you will be getting 0.6 as the answer. Okay, but the JEE Mains will not ask the question like this, ki they are giving you the table. In that question you have to make the table also, okay, and then you have to find the variance also. The longest question that can be asked is standard deviation. Okay, they will ask that a question is given, and then you have to draw the table, then after the table you have to find out the sigma, standard deviation, not variance. All right, so this is the last question of today's session. Okay, and I can give you to try, you can write this as a homework. Okay, try this, and if you are able to do, then that's okay. Otherwise, we will do in the next class. All right. So that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed it. Answer is A option. You can take the answer also. And thank you. So now we can discuss the doubts. Okay.